Good morning, San Diego. Good to have you here. I'm your host, Craig Sewing, and man, I'm excited for show number 1 of Operation American Dream. If you haven't seen our shows before, I host a show called American Dream, where I'm positioned as a consumer advocate, also the Craig Sewing radio show, and all that content is at craigsewing.com. But let's talk about the why behind this show number 1 of Operation American Dream. San Diego is not just America's finest city, it is a military town. We have to support those who protect our freedoms, which really is my personal why behind it. I have not served in the military, but I've always been a huge supporter of those who have. I am someone who gets to live out my dreams. I have an amazing life here in this great country, not to mention this is a San Diego-based show, so we're in the greatest city in the greatest country on the planet, and I do not take those freedoms for granted. So it is an honor to be able to host this show, and I'm not doing it on my own. Helping me, our co-host, who is a Marine, Daniel Lehman, joins us in studio. Daniel, good to have you here, man.
The day is here.
The day is here. How long have we been working on this?
We've been talking about it forever, and it's such an amazing project, man, so I'm excited.
Yeah, so thank you for your service, and I probably should have opened the show with this. I want to thank anybody who's tuned in today who has served as well. If you haven't served, if you're like me, I think I'll be representing that message. We'll call it the civilian message. Daniel, you're going to speak to a lot of the things that people who have served need to know. We're going to be interviewing vets, honoring those who protect our freedoms, bringing in charities. We got a great show lined up today. We're also going to be diving into financial advice, real estate advice, some that actually gets very specific for those who served. So you're going to be interviewing Dave Elhoff, Lori Miller. These are people, you also have your radio show, so let's talk about Military Mondays.
Military Monday is fantastic, and the thing that you mentioned that's really key is San Diego is really a collaboration of civilian and veteran and active duty and all these people coming together to do great things for the community. So I'm just excited to be a part of it.
Now, you had mentioned to me the other day, there's, 500,000 servicemen and women who are in San Diego alone? I mean, is it somewhere around there?
100,000 active duty, okay. 250,000 veterans. And if you factor in military families and that kind of thing, you're probably about right. I mean, there's a big, big population in San Diego, surprisingly big to a lot of people that we talk about it with.
So the message is going to resonate really well, and not only are these people so brave to serve for us, then they come out of being in the military and they get into the U.S., they're looking for jobs, they're looking for financial improvement and stability and growth, and all these things are important whether you've served or not. But there's a lot of the advice we're going to get into on this show that is specific if you have served. So that being said, Daniel, let's not waste any time. We're going to be bringing in people that are pretty smart on these topics. They're going to join us. You ready to get the show started?
Let's do it.
All right, Operation American Dream starts now.
Welcome back to Operation American Dream. One of the most important things that we do for you, the viewer, is advocate for you and advise you in certain areas of your life. And one of the most important things that we can do for you in that advice is talk about finance and how finance fits into your life, whether you're a veteran, whether you're active military, or you're a civilian. And so to do that, I've got a great guest on, Mr. Elhoff. Talking about finance, you served in the military yourself.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about your service. You were a naval pilot or naval?
I was a backseat F-4, F-14 guy for the days back when those were still operational, and it was a great time. But I got out and went into the financial services industry. And I'll tell you something, Daniel, the interesting thing that the military need to know out there, they need to treat their financial lives similar to what their professional life is like. For instance, they go into work every day, they have a plan of the day, plan of the week, plan of the month. They know where they're going to be doing these things over the next period of time. They're very likely going to go know what their next duty station is going to be. It's not unlike their financial. They need to know every day what's going on because they only have one optimum position to position themselves at any given moment.
I always talk to military members and young military members because I got out of the Marine Corps and I was at $50 to my name. I came across some great mentors like yourself, and they really helped me grow in that way. So a lot of things that I tell them is just what you're saying is money is very tactical, and the military is very tactical, yet people tend to be so emotional about money at times. So it's kind of it's to your point.
Absolutely, and one of the biggest mistakes I see people making is that, number one, they're trying to budget their lives, and it's not going to work that way, because the formula that most people follow for accumulating capital is putting money at a rate of return over time. There's only one accurate part of that formula, and that's time. Money goes up and down in value, mostly down. The longer you hold on to money, the less it's going to purchase for you. The rates of return that people are using, we know that's inaccurate right away because we have no idea what the future is going to be. And then the other thing is, they have things attacking it all the time, like inflation, taxes, planned obsolescence that takes away from their wealth and their financial security for the future. So what many people do, they put in a pile of money in one area for a specific purpose, and they're hurting themselves because they're only getting one use out of that capital. We need money to have a velocity factor on it, where it's getting more than $1 worth of work out of it, more than one rate of return with it. And by using tactical decision-making process, they can strategically place themselves in the future regardless of what happens.
So obviously, that's great advice for the community, for the military community, for the veteran community, but just for the community
Absolutely,
overall
for the general population.
What's your thought on the market overall? What's your confidence in the markets? I've had a lot of people call me, we're up near the highs of currently, and what's your thought on just the market in general?
Well, here's the interesting thing about the market. The market generally moves up, but everyone's using average rate of returns as what their goal is, but average isn't the same as actual. Since 1929, 31 of those years were not positive. So over a 40-year period of time, very likely you're going to have a quarter of that time where it's not going to be making money. And that has an effect based upon your timing when it happens to you. Folks that were getting ready to retire in 2007 and 8 and the market crashed, they found out they'd had to work a little longer. Their money had basically disappeared or went down 50% overnight. It seemed like at that point in time, so they had to restructure and realign and go forward from there.
So what you're saying is, it speaks to your point, you don't just put an asset into a investment and expect that it's going to be 8%, 8%, 8%, 8% you're going to hit. It's very important to have somebody managing that process.
Absolutely.
So the question is, how does that translate? You got the TSP, and I know you deal with a lot of clients that are dealing with their TSP, or maybe they've rolled over their TSP. How does this? I mean, I guess it's the same type of advice, whether it's the investments are the same, whether it's an asset for a veteran or
Yeah, it's very similar to the way a general goes in and decides that he's going to do battle. He doesn't have one asset. He has multiple assets that do different things. People have choices. They have multiple assets out there that they can have that are going to be taxed differently. I encourage people to have things that are going to be taxed differently because they need choices when it comes to tap these resources. If they put everything into their TSP, they know that it's going to be 100% tax in the future. Now, the TSP also offers some options today where they can put it into a Roth, which is never taxed in the future. So they got to have balance. You got things that are sometimes taxable, always taxed, and never taxed. Now, in the future, where do you want these assets to be positioned? Never taxed. That's where you would like to have the bulk of it, but you can't do it because it's not economical and doesn't make sense. And many people in the military, they don't even get a match on their TSP, where when they go into public service, they might get a match. That's good. But still, it's 100% taxable when they need to take it out.
So when you're planning a mission in the military, it's somewhat similar, right? It's
Absolutely.
Like you don't plan the mission with one plane, you plan on a number of different planes.
Yeah, you need ground support, you need air support, you need sea support, you need all these things in order to be successful.
So if somebody wanted to reach out to you and they wanted to learn about this, where can they get a hold of you?
Best thing to do is I got multiple videos talking about many of these strategies on my website, elhoffwealth.com. If they go to elhoffwealth.com, they'll find numerous videos there that talk about these concepts. So one video I'd like to have them review is the one that shows them how to organize themselves. Take their junk drawer financial assets and put it on an organized model, and they'll be able to see everything that they've decided financially and are doing financially on one screen. And by doing so, they can analyze what's the best tactical decision today to have the best strategy in the future.
Thanks so much for your great advice. Thanks so much for your service.
It's always a pleasure.
We'll be right back with more from Operation American Dream.
Now joining us in studio, she is one of my favorite people, but she's also a big supporter of the military. In fact, even brought in some information on how she serves the military. But you're like me, Lori Miller, you haven't actually served, you just got a heart for the military. Good to have you on the show.
Thanks so much, Craig.
And then
Thanks so much for having me.
we also got Justin Kramer, friend of yours, active Navy. Thank you for your service and thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me, sir.
All right, so Lori Miller, where do we go with this?
Where do we begin?
You got a radio show, you had a radio show, you're crushing in the real estate business, so let's talk about the market a little bit.
Been doing real estate 21 years. We always do market talk, try
Yeah.
to fix each other's lives. It's always good to be part of your world.
Yeah, it's fun to be part of your world.
Thank you.
You know, in a former life, I had a mortgage company, and I'll never forget, this is probably, I don't know, 6 years ago
6
or
or
so. Yeah, so Lori Miller reaches out to me. She's a top producing realtor. If you are buying or selling real estate, whether you've served in the military or not, she's a great call here. But I remember you wanted to get this like co-marketing campaign where anything we closed, we donated money to the military.
Correct.
Right? And then you bring this in here today. I'm not in the mortgage business anymore, but you know, you're still doing
We've
it.
created this giant program now that's servicing
That's
the
cool.
military and firefighters and police, first
Yeah, that's good.
responders. So yeah, it's been really good. I'm from a military family. My dad was a Green Beret in the Army, and my grandfather was in World War II in the Army. So
that's
I
where
have
the
a little
passion comes
kindred passion for military and what they do.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. How do we know Justin here?
Justin is active military, and he actually trains at a gym that we train jointly at, and that's how we know each other. And he's got so many interesting stories. I mean, I think every military person carries stories on so many levels
Yeah.
that are so interesting to be a part of and to hear and to think we will never, you, Craig, or myself, will never have that experience or that opportunity. And it's why we're so proud and honored to be with someone like Justin. And
Well,
he has some amazing stories. He's part of one of San Diego's biggest events is the Miramar Air Show, and he's part of the Blue Angels. So
Tell us about it.
Well, I just finished my 3 years at the Blue Angels and accepted orders out here, which is a spot to be an instructor out here at a Naval Air Station, San Diego, North Island, the Naval Aviation Technical Training Unit out there, to be an instructor and to teach the future generation of Marines and sailors coming in.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot. And you're also training in jiu-jitsu. Now,
Yes.
Lori didn't have to share that with us. I think I would have picked up on it.
I think everyone that watches the show will be able to.
So what gym is this?
Well, me and Lori met at Victory MMA, which is on Sports Arena Boulevard. Our coach was Jocko Willink, which I really admire as a person and leader, with him being in the Navy and doing a career out of it. I currently train at Alliance East Lake in Chula Vista right now with Professor Elias Gallegos.
Well, we appreciate your service. So what is the future for you? So now you're going to get into teaching. You're still active.
Yes.
So, you know, for someone like me who's a civilian, I'm still trying to learn a lot of the vocabulary that comes with this. Obviously, Lori as well. What is the future for you? I mean, you're obviously active now, and then what do you look forward to from there?
Well, right now I'm concentrating on getting my basic qualifications as being an instructor. There's a lot of psychology and questioning and teaching a course to people about naval aviation equipment. So in order to do that successfully and for your students to retain knowledge, you have to be qualified. So I'm working on that right now, and I'm also working on a bachelor's degree in aeronautical engineering.
Wow.
So on top of doing, my job, I'm going to school and then trying to stay in shape along at the
Good
same
for you,
time.
man.
Because
Did you meet Dave Elhoff in the green room? He's a former Navy pilot who is our financial advisor we just had on the show. Make sure you connect with him. But,
All right.
He's a financial advisor. We bring Lori in because she can give you great real estate advice, right? Now, real estate advice is, whether you've served in the military or not, it's important to everything in San Diego. San Diego is America's finest city. It's also a military town. There's a lot of advice we can give specific to if you've served, 100% financing, no money down.
No
It's one of the things
down.
our government gets right. But let's start a little bit broader here. Tell us about the real estate market. I know it's crazy, low inventory, low rates.
Low inventory. Neighborhoods are very reactive to the market right now, whether it's multiple offers and it's an accelerated neighborhood, and then there's some little pockets that aren't moving that quickly, that are a
Really?
little less responsive. So I feel like the buyers are just kind of sitting back a little bit and trying to educate themselves on the direction of pricing right now.
It's crazy.
It
you
is.
know?
Is it going up? Is it going down? And they're really trying to think about that now more than before.
So you've been in this business for a while.
21
right?
years.
21 years you've been in the
Would you
business.
like my age as well?
I mean, you've been in since you were 4
5
years old?
5 years old.
Okay, 5 years old, got it. But you remember the market crashed. Obviously, that was
Yes.
tough for a lot of people. And I think that there's still like some scars from that market now where you see how well real estate's doing. It's going up in value. And it's like the old buy low, sell high. Be fearful when others are greedy when others are fearful, adage that it's doing so well that I think people might be a little bit cautious that it's overheating.
Is it going
a
to
little
happen
bit.
again?
Yeah. Do you get that feeling at all?
I do. And what I educate my buyers is the market that we just suffered when the market crashed years ago.
Yep.
There was a lot of monopoly money.
Right.
So this money, the lenders got smarter, appraisers got smarter, things have been changed structurally.
Yep.
And I think it's more real money that's been in play now for the last 5 years, 6 years.
That's a good takeaway. In 2000, call it 1 to 7, you could fog this glass here and you could get a loan, right?
85-year-old people that have been retired for 30 years were getting stated income loans, no problem.
right.
And unfortunately, those 85-year-old people, some of them lost their houses when the market crashed.
I remember
So-
there's a product called Nina Ni. No income, no asset, no employment. You didn't even have to verify anything. So the good news is this, is that the market, the way that it's appreciating, it's real. When you say that there's more qualified people, they're putting money down, they have to have good credit, and so the people that are getting in, it's not monopoly, it's real money.
Right.
But on the VA side, this is obviously a military show. If you've served in our military, one of the best opportunities that exists for you is you can buy a house with no money down. Now think about this. You get the BAH, you get the money from the military, so that can go towards your housing. With no money down, it really is a no-risk, high-reward type situation. You buy the house. If you bought a $400-something thousand house, it's going to be equivalent to what you'd pay for rent. You don't have to put any money down. So really great options for you if you've served. Now you have some listings. What are some good examples of properties you got on the market now?
I have properties in La Mesa that are $400,000 and under, and that's just a really good price point for San Diego because they average San Diego's price point at about $550. I think right now a little bit higher than that. So I have listings in La Mesa for about $400,000, great starter homes, and listings all the way up to, in the millions at the coast. So
What's the best website if people want to check out your listings?
you can go to heroesandhouses.com.
So that's this.
Yes, and from there you can connect to all of my agents that work with the military and the veterans. And if you want to reach me directly, it's everyhomeuc.com is my direct website.
Lori Miller, there's a reason we made you the first real estate expert to ever put on our first episode of Operation American Dream.
Thank you, Super Sewing.
You did such a good job. I was waiting for you to get crazy and start
I
throwing
was
back
going
vodka
to. We didn't
and
talk
swearing.
about April's month of the military child. You should bring that up.
Well, we're here. What is it?
Oh, is it on? Are we on?
We're still on.
So April, did you know that is the month of the military child? So they kind of honor and acknowledge the children that go through the military process with the parents. So
Good to know.
yeah,
I
it's
was
good
product
to know.
of that.
And they have to deal with moving, parents coming home injured, parents coming home with brain injuries. So
Well, provide us that information.
Yes.
We'll put it at operationad.com. That is our website. We just launched it. I mean, first show or so. I mean, we don't even have mugs yet, So
Cheers.
anyway, cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
Justin, thank you for your service. Thank you for sharing everything you have going on. Good luck with the Blue Angels, man. We appreciate that as a city here.
Yes.
Cool. All right, coming up next, we're bringing in a good friend of ours, Eve Nasby. Eve helps you if you have served in the military, coming out of that service to get a great job. She's got a great message. Daniel is going to be joining me in studio right here on our first episode of Operation American Dream. Stick around. All right, now joining us in studio for the Situation Report, Daniel Lehman joins me at the desk, and Eve Nasby, who's been a regular guest on American Dream, Military Mondays, out there helping people who have served. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Welcome to the desk, Daniel.
I'm here.
Yeah. I mean, you're drawing there. You like
I'm
drawing. He's like
drawing.
sitting
I'm
here like
just
drawing
hanging out.
stick figures. I mean, come
That's
on,
what I'm here
man.
to do.
You call yourself a Marine? Eve, good to have you on
You'd
the show.
expect that from the Air Force, right?
Yeah.
We're the
Yeah,
biggest
I'm
country
staying
club.
away from that.
You are? Okay.
Yeah.
Good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
So we've had you on my show, which is regularly on Channel 4, and we've talked a lot about the things that you do, but we have a new audience here today. We're really excited about our first show. Let's just start there. What is it that you do, and then we'll take it to a more specific message.
Yep, so Brave brings companies together and pairs them with veterans. So in San Diego, we have 25,000. I know you talk about this on Military Mondays. The amount of people that are transitioning out of the military into the San Diego community every single year is staggering. Do you guys know it's about 20 to 25,000 people?
Insane.
I know, and 7,000 of them stay. So we've got hundreds of thousands of businesses in San Diego that need to hire great talent, and they don't know how to find veteran talent. So that's what we do. We make it really easy for them to hire great veterans.
So it's one thing to be the company, right? It's another thing to be the veteran who's getting out of the military. Not necessarily, I don't know if you're ever out of it, but it's, you're moving into trying to find a job. Now, you went to that experience. Now, you're an entrepreneur, right, Daniel? So you got into the mortgage business, built your own branch, become very successful there. But from a veteran's perspective, how important is this?
It's not you spend all this time getting initiated into the military and becoming very prepared to be in the military, and then it's like poof. And if you don't have people like Eve out there helping companies understand how that works, it can be a very challenging thing. And I think I would say that it's probably one of the most challenging things that the veteran community faces.
Yep, and you find a lot of guys that literally will just lock themselves in a dark room because they don't know what to do. It's so intimidating. The civilian world can be so intimidating that they almost need a navigator to help them get through it.
What do you think the biggest mistake that those guys, I mean, what I hear is translation of resume to civilian
Speak.
Yes,
that is a big mistake because they put all the acronyms on there, and I'm a civilian, but I don't know what exactly a sergeant major did. And so there's a lot of acronyms and things like that that are on a resume that don't translate into my world. And so our experts can come and help them retranslate that. Plus you get into an interview. Say I'm interviewing Craig, and I say, Craig, well, what do you want to do? And Craig says, I can do anything. I was a Marine. Well, that could be true, but it's not the answer that I as an employer need to hear. You got to tell me exactly where you want to be and what you want to do.
Well, look at him. Marine, now he's hosting shows. I mean, it's easy, right?
What am I doing here?
How
did this happen?
He's just sitting here coloring. It's like, what is going on with my co-host here? We're in. Man, but but you're kind of right though, in the sense where if you've been a Marine, it's a lot more challenging there overseas than it is necessarily some of the things we have going on here. I think the skill set is obvious, right? I mean, organize, systematize, loyal, honest, hardworking. I mean, these are things that you learn as you've served.
Things that people don't think about though is like how, a guy that's running supplies up in Iraq under fire doesn't recognize that he'd be a great person for FedEx.
Got it.
I mean, and then how amazing once you do connect those dots, how big is it for employers once they figure that out and really latch onto these skills? How big of an opportunity is it to be able to set up and hire veterans?
Yep, and they're twice as likely to be promoted. So if you're looking for leadership, somebody that's going to be there early, which is on time to them, they're not going to complain when the copier breaks, they're not going to whine, they're going to get stuff done no matter what, then you need to hire veterans.
Give us some success stories, right? Give us some real examples, because there's people that are tuned into this show. It's obviously on Channel 4, but we'll be posting it on operationad.com, and we'd love to direct people to you for guidance. So help us connect the dots for anyone who might be looking to find a job that's served. I mean, are there any examples you can share?
Yeah, there's a gal named Karen Sendra, got out of the Air Force and not real sure about the San Diego economy and finding a job here, although she was a rock star, project manager, great experience, and yet was finding it a very difficult time to find a job here in San Diego. She gave us a call and we connected her with a few other people in San Diego, and San Diego is a very close-knit community, you guys. There's a lot of people out there. Sean Mahoney from 0800. You've got Operation Reboot with Maurice Wilson. We all work as a community to help veterans find work. Long story short, a company heard her on the radio and actually created a position for her, and she is in a really good place right now. She's a leader within this organization. So she went from almost being homeless, literally, to this huge success story. So that's the power of community, and that's what we have going for us in San Diego.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't you feel like San Diego does that really, really, really well?
We have a long way to go. I think we do it well. We do it better than most, but I think we have a long way to go. And why do I say that? San Diego Chamber of Commerce started Honor Roll, and we get to honor those people who hire veterans. But companies out there don't know where to find the veterans. There's hundreds of companies in San Diego right now that if I said, go hire a veteran, they'd be like, where do I find them? They don't know where to find them. And so I think we have a long way to go in advertising how and where you can find veteran talent. And it's not just us. There's lots of organizations out there that can help.
Yep.
But we collectively need to do a better job, which is why I'm thankful that you guys are standing up this program, because it's educating veterans on a certain piece of the employment sector of, okay, I'm transitioning out, where can I go now? Who can help me? And that's what you guys in part are doing today.
But it sounds to me like you gel both sides of the equation, right? You have the
do.
veteran and then you also have the business. So there you are in the middle, and you can educate the employer, but you can also educate the employee, in this
Yes.
case, the veteran.
Exactly.
Love it. Well, that's why we bring you on here. First show. Thank you, Eve Nasby, for coming on. You got anything else you want to?
I think Eve
Draw
said
any
it
more
all.
pictures?
I'm
You
bringing
got
my
it.
Doing a
coloring
pretty
book
good
next
job.
time, because
What?
if you guys are going to start
Craig can stay on Facebook all he wants.
See that?
and
We
I-
don't even
I
give you
can't-
guys coffee mugs. I was saying earlier, we don't even have Operation American Dream mugs yet. We're so
Yeah.
new. We're
Poor-
still sticking with the
yeah.
American Dream.
red, white, and blue. Okay, let's do that. Red, white, and blue.
Works for me.
Awesome. Well, good to have you on the show,
Thank
Eve.
you.
And we'll
It's good
have
to be
you
here.
on many shows in the future. And that's it for our guests. So hope you've enjoyed the guest part of the show. We're actually going to wrap this thing up. Me and Daniel give you some good advice. Tease next week's show coming up right here on Operation American Dream.
Hi, my name is Min Lee. I live up in Carmel Valley, northern San Diego with my 2 kids and wife, and we had our solar installed by Baker Electric Solar. We went with solar because we wanted to be environmentally sound, but ultimately it came down to being financially sensible, and the prepaid lease was really the best option. There was only one payment up front, lock in all of our utility rates. We'll get our return back in about 6 or 7 years, kind of like a bond or a CD. We had no headaches, no stress to worry about. If you're thinking about going solar, now's a great time. Our electric bill is 0, and you can't beat that.
All right, welcome back. Man, that's pretty much a wrap. You done coloring?
Good
I mean, you
first
get everything. You fill in all the
done.
Remember
I'm
back
done.
in grade school and you used to fill in the letters? I think that's what you were doing. I don't know if it was coloring, but.
Coloring.
So how is this compared to being a Marine, man? Probably a lot easier, huh?
I don't know, man. It's a
A little intense, yeah.
a little different.
Well, that was a good show, right? So I want to just remind our audience what the why behind what we do. It's to celebrate the fact that we live in the greatest city, of course, but this is a military town, and personally, I live a life that's very blessed, and I don't take it for granted. Heck, hosting a radio show, which you do as well, they have this thing called freedom of speech. It ain't free, and it's because of service from guys like you and those who are tuned in, and we just are very, very appreciative. And if there's anything that I can personally do to help empower and lift up the community, then it's an honor to be able to do that. Of course, with you, Daniel, thanks for being our co-host here today. Great guests.
I would just add, this really isn't our show, right? I mean, it's your show.
Yeah.
You know, it's your show. It's for you. Anything that we can do to serve the community,
I agree.
we are 100% in.
Yeah, so that's a great way to finish up here. It is your show. If you want to visit us online, operationad.com. I think we're building up our fan page and all that, so you can follow the show. We'll have some newsletters going out, but certainly catch us Fridays right here at 10:30 a.m., DVR us. And of course, Military Mondays is 6 p.m. on 1170 a.m. KCBQ. I pick up on Tuesdays with the Craig Sewing Show, and it's really all about educating, empowering, and engaging. So, know what I love about it too? It's Friday. So, I
know.
it's weekend time, man. Go enjoy the weekend, right?
It's a beautiful thing.
All right, man. Well, we got the first one down. I appreciate you co-hosting with me. All right, we are out for today. Hope you enjoyed today's show, and we'll see you next week for episode 2 of Operation American Dream. Have a great weekend, San Diego. See you next week.